Good evening and welcome to the Angry Cast. This is a rant. So here I am again playing Grand Theft Auto's Transform Races because I thought I had finished them all and I hadn't. And it again was for double the points and double the money, so why not? Doesn't really matter that I'm putting these videos up. They're probably going to get less views that are monetized than anything else, but that's how that works. Actually, I really don't have anything planned to say. I had a couple of things I wanted to do, and everything kind of got thrown to the wayside. Um, you know, this is just me off the cuff, unfiltered. I don't care. I have another heartbreak on my hands in the form of my cat, Willow. She, in July, took her to the vet just for simple routine, check her teeth out, make sure she's okay. I think she was having some issues with her, her hind end. We're gonna, check it out, maybe squeeze some things, that kind of stuff. I talked about this before in another video, but I don't want to go rehashing all of it. And they said, well, she doesn't seem something doesn't seem right. So they did an X-ray, and they found like they said there's something looks like a collapsed lung and a mass or whatever. They weren't sure what it was. They couldn't tell what it was, but she obviously had some respiratory issues. And they said, here, put her on a bronchodilator. So we put her on, what's it called? Theophylline, Theophylline, whatever, Thermopolis, who knows? And I was giving her that once every other day, and it's supposed to help. Now, I wasn't sure that it was doing any good for her. She hated taking it. She was constantly fighting me for taking it. And it was not like it's a big deal. Just plop a capsule in the back of her throat, no taste to it, and just swallow it and be done. Well, that was back in July. And now here it is, the end of the year, December 29th, my dad's birthday, who's also fighting cancer. Not doing very well either. Got squamous. Now under treatment of chemotherapy. He's lost all of his hair. Really has no energy and really has, and I'm watching this happen unfold in front of my eyes, and it hasn't even been a year since I had to put Emmy down from almost the same thing. And here I am staring at this cat, and I'm beginning to lose the sense that this cat is the same cat as I always knew, and that's when you kind of know. But the main reason is because in the day that Christmas Eve, Bailey started to notice that Willow was breathing a little different. I said, "Honey, I can't. It's Sunday, and it's a holiday. There's nothing I can really do other than take her to the emergency vet. And at this stage in the game, I got to be a little bit more careful because, unfortunately, I have been working. So Christmas Eve came and went. Christmas Day came and went, and I took her the day after Christmas to the vet, and they said that it is worse, and that she had an entire chest area of stuff, and that she was breathing from like her hip area. I think they call it paradoxical breathing. In any case, they said what we can do is we can see if we can try to drain anything off and see what happens. And they got a ton of fluid out, which is what they weren't expecting. And the X-rays from July and the X-rays to that day were a stark contrast from each other. But then when they re-examined her after they took all the fluid off, it was the same as July. In fact, it had cleared up some along the lung region. So, needless to say, things were like we reset the clock, but they were concerned because one, they didn't understand why things weren't getting any better. That in case that there was still a mass there and whatever else was going on. So they took the fluid and they took some blood, and there was actually some blood in the fluid, and they kind of thought that there was an infection there. So we put her on Xenoquin, and I brought her home, and she just wasn't the same. And I figured she was sore from being poked and prodded and all that. They gave her a mild sedative and everything to take care of that, but you know, they said it's chances are that the fluid could build back up again. We don't know why it started building up, but it could be. And their more concern was there was a hell of a lot of white blood cells that were rapidly, or like phagocytes or whatever, they're rapidly dividing and multiplying. So that was the 26th. Now the 27th, not much happened. She still kind of slayed around. She ate a little bit. She drank a little bit. She's not the same cat, which is I worry when I see a cat just staring at standing at the water dish and not really actively using it or doing weird things to it. That's a red flag to me because Emmy did the same thing and that's how I knew. And the doctor called and the blood came back and it was clear, no abnormalities. There's still an infection, so still keep giving her the Xeniquin. Everything's fine. And then the fluid came back. and my heart fell out of my ass because they said it's an aggressive form of cancer, and it's not going to, to treat it would be highly invasive and torturous and expensive, and you just have to make the decision. And so I wasn't ready to make the decision when I was on the phone with him. I mean, I'm standing there I just gotten out of the shower. I'm standing there with no clothes on, talking to a doctor, just ready to, drop everything and curl up in the fetal position on the bathroom floor. So we figured we'll just keep doing what we're doing. Well, she's eating a little bit. We put some yogurt out, and she eats a little bit of yogurt. She drinks a little bit, nothing extreme, nothing normal. And I'm sitting here, and she's now sitting on. Well, she's finally laid down. She's sat there, and she seemed like she was, had some sparks of her. She would like run around, come over to us, and she jumped up on the couch with us, and other stuff. So there's little things, but I don't know what. I don't know what, and I know what the answer is. I know what the answer is. The answer is I have to take her in, and we have to, do what's necessary. And I just, the 29th of December, it's going to be New Year's Eve this weekend, and I have things to do, and I just, I don't, not that I feel selfish enough that I can't have this cat burden me. It's just that I have a problem taking something from that animal that you can never give back. I had it with Emmy. Oscar was a different story. Oscar made that decision for me. I think he understood that I couldn't do it for him, and it was beyond time. And I probably did him a disservice by him having that. He probably had a heart attack. Died in his, I was laying in bed, 3 o'clock in the morning. He was laying next to me, and I heard I heard him jump off the floor. I heard a cry, and then that was it. It was over. And I looked under the bed, and there he was. With Emmy, I had to make that decision for her. I knew, and it was time, and it killed me. I I don't care how strong and burly you are. I don't care how manly you think you are. Take something you love that you have cared for 13 years or 12 years or whatever, to over a decade. Take something you love that's that old and that you cared for, that's giving you joy and, laughter and everything else, and essentially take everything that they are from them and not feel something. Now I know that, I grew up in a world where our fathers, the dog was not well or whatever, they took it outside and they shot it, or they hit it with a shovel or something like that. But we're a little bit more humane nowadays, and I can't see having that. And I can't fathom what it means to the other animals in the household, or Bailey. And I think Bailey, the problem with Bailey is that she's so used to it that she's slowly thinking that she should disassociate with anything and not become attached because it's just going to die. And that's something a 30 or 40 something year old feels, not a 10-year-old. So here I am in my kitchen or dining room, office, whatever you want to call it, recording this vlog because I know that I need to get these feelings out. I got to do more than just sit on the couch and just wrap up in a blanket and pray that it goes away. And it's not. I need some kind of a record, some kind of event. I can't expect there to be people around me 24/7 to hold my hand or, let me explode and fall apart on their shoulder. I can't do that. I have to do these things myself because I am the adult here. I am the owner. I am the parent. I am whatever. And the fact that I'm inviting all of you into this just shows how stupid I probably am because it's none of your concern. You shouldn't care. But I only do it. I only have that, um, outlet because I want you to feel that you don't have to be afraid, that you don't have to be scared of those feelings, and I want you to understand that you can, be attached to something, love it, give it a home, give it, warmth, shelter, and everything, and then ultimately have to give it release. That's your responsibility. That's, what you take on when you adopt or inherit or buy or whatever you do. I mean, I'd prefer to adopt, a pet. So let me give you a little bit of background. Now that I've got a lot of the gory, harmful stuff out of the way, let's go back a little bit and um, remember Willow in her youth. And I will put pictures in this, in between to sort of give this idea. It was 2004. She was just a kitten. It was July of 2004. I had just bought this house 6 months before. January 31st, we moved in. January 28th, actually, we moved in. Had two cats, Emmy and Oscar. And my then wife, Bailey's mother, was working at a neighboring farmer's market area. She'd been working there she'd been there for like 10 years already. It's been 20 years, over 20 years. And she said that there was somebody dropped a pregnant mother off at the farm, which they tend to do at farms. They just drop animals off thinking that, oh, that'll be great. Yeah, not necessarily. Don't drop an animal at just a farm just thinking that it's going to be okay, because chances are you don't know the situation. And in this situation, her boss, the owner of the farm and market and all that other stuff, was not very fond of cats. I won't go into any more than that. But let's just say that he'd already caught one of them. The mother had died. One of the litter had died. And there was the only two left were these two kittens, tabby kittens, one with front orange paws and orange on her nose, and the other one with gray nose and back orange paws. And they began to hide out near the store, and the only people that they interacted with were the field workers, who are migrant, farmers. They come up here, they work for the season, and then they go back, usually to, wherever they're from. And her boss was set to go take care of these last two cats, and Bailey's mother stepped in and said, "Don't you dare touch them. I want them. I will take care of them." Well, me, being allergic to cats and kind of overwhelmed with two cats in our home as it was, begrudgingly went along with this idea that we had to go get them. I figured, well, if we get them, we can, give them. Somebody will take them in. They will find a home, and somebody will take them in. And we went to the farm, and they were hiding out under these bins. My next door neighbor, who had a trap, it was a humane trap. Puts food in it, they walk in, the door shuts, and they're stuck inside the trap. We went with the trap, and and Willow walked right in. She was the smarter of the two. She walked right in and just said, I'm done. And we brought her home, and we had her in the house for a couple of days. Just a kitten, maybe 6 weeks old. Lucy, the other cat at the farm, was not so easy to catch. We had to move boxes, and there was a forklift involved and all kinds of mess, and I held onto that cat for dear life as she clawed the crap out of me, but we got her and we brought her home. So now sisters were reunited. They looked so much alike except for the face and the paws. And we were gonna, give them to somebody to be, a new home. Not us, because I already had two. 4 cats was a little bit, we were outnumbered as it was. And she's like, we took them to the vet, and they did their thing. And we sat down, and we realized that we had spent a good $150, $200 on these cats. And nobody was going to buy them. Nobody was going to pay for them to reimburse us for that time and effort. And we just she didn't think that we would, should just give them away for putting that much effort into it. And I'm like, yeah, but we saved the cats. Why should it matter? And I sort of, we had not somewhat of an argument, but we sat there in the floor of a room and disagreed with some volume that these cats could not stay, or they could stay. Well, I lost that battle. And Willow and Lucy rounded out the brood. I was not happy about it. I was not ecstatic about having 2 more cats that I'm allergic to in this house. This house is not brand new to us. and I was going to have to deal with the fact that there was going to be just cleaning up stuff. And, I didn't really have anything but dogs in my life. And here I was adjusting to cats. But over the years, Willow and Lucy became very important parts of the family. I had given each cat a voice because that's what I do. Oscar had a very high pitched voice. He sounded like a commercial. And um, I did that voice and it stuck. And then Emmy came along, and Emmy's voice changed because at one point she started drooling all over us when we were petting her. And so, therefore, she had a little bit of a lisp. She talks like this. Willow and Lucy was a little bit more stereotypical and somewhat racist, I guess, because I figured the only people that they were around were the field workers, so they both had like a Spanish, Hispanic accent. And, you know, Willow especially, because she would sit and put her paws up on the windowsill and look like she was praying. I go, oh, she's praying to Santa Maria to bring her more poof balls. She loved poof balls. She loves poof balls. She used to shred the hell out of them. And every so often we find one in the water dish. And every so often we find one in the food dish. And that's Willow's thing. I don't know why, but that's what she does. And she's also the only cat that when you know, she follows you into a room where she knows the brush is at. Like a captive audience. I want to be brushed. She wanted to be brushed all the time. Love being brushed. But just sit there and brush, 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 brush. Loved it. And, I would get out, within the last 3 years, and she hasn't done it for a while because I kind of stopped doing it. I kind of stopped letting her because she wasn't actively doing it. But, after everything sort of happened the way it did, and I was by myself in this house, I would go get a shower, and in the morning I'd come out, I'd open up the, shower, and I'd have the door open because there's poor ventilation in the bathroom, and I wanted to, keep the mold down because it could get moldy in there if you don't pay attention. Anyways, I'd open up the shower curtain, and there would be Willow standing there looking at me. And I would put the water on a trickle and the thing, and she would jump in and start drinking the water. That was her thing. She had her own things. There was something. Each cat had their own specific traits, and each one special. Willow's was the poof balls and the praying position and the water. And she was also very attentive to, you know, people. The first 10 years of her life, or 9 years of her life, you barely saw her. They only came out every so often. Otherwise, they were kind of like in their own little world. They didn't really. She's the only one that I never trusted. That she would turn on you and kill you if you gave her an opportunity. And when Megan started coming around, and Megan's allergic to cats too, Willow took to Megan like a fish to water. She loves Megan. She will lay on her side and put her paws up on her leg and just claw the shit out of her. And it I don't like her doing it, but it's just that's her thing. She's like we called her the Willowkins, Willow Meena Mu. That's the 15,000 names you give a pet over the course of its lifetime. Moo is how I refer to her now. Willow is her pet name, but Moo is her endearing name. And she would sometimes get in between us on the couch, and we called her the parental moonit because she, kept the two of us apart on the couch. That's her thing. And that's the history of Willow. And with the remaining time, I don't know how it is, I'm not keeping track at this point. But just remember, and this is the lesson. This is the lesson for you out there. If you've listened up until now, please continue listening. There are millions of animals out there in this world, and I'm guessing with that number, but there are tons of animals out in this world that do not have a home, that are abandoned, left for whatever reason. There was a story just the other day or over Christmas that I heard about a dog. Family had a dog for a number of years, and the dog got into quill, a porcupine got into a tussle and got quills all over his face, and they took the dog to a shelter or a vet or whatever, and then just turned around, and walked away, left it there, and that is just horrible. That how can people who bring an animal into their home just turn their back on it? How can you just forget? How can you just decide to not care anymore? And that's not me. Whether I don't care for cats or dogs or whatever, still, I'm, life itself, animals, a soul, anything like that. I can't act like that. So I would hope that people out there will listen to me when I tell you that there are tons of animals out there that need homes. And if you want to be that person and understand that that is a responsibility, as you've heard from the first 10 minutes of this video, you will give up a lot of your surroundings to that animal. You will have to work. You have to take care of it. You have to clean a litter box and feed them and buy food and buy litter and buy toys and reupholster and do whatever. Buy new things to replace the ones that they've destroyed, and they will shit and piss and barf on everything in the course of their lifetime. So don't do it if that's going to be a problem to you. Don't bring an animal into your home if that's going to be a problem to you. Don't bring an animal into your home if it's a holiday and you think your kids would want one, because you know what? Rabbits and chickens or whatever else, they are the most returned gifts or dropped off gifts ever after like Easter. Don't go to stores and buy your animals. Get your animals from a shelter. Adopt one. If you're don't want to pay that $75 and you've noticed one out in your, if you want to be a nice person, you know open your home to a stray. Make sure that if you have other pets that quarantine that one until you get it to the vet and get it checked out. The only thing I will tell you is I'm not a real big fan of if you have an animal. Now I'm saying a dog. Dogs are mostly outdoors because or not outdoor, mostly outdoors, but they will go outside to do their business and come back in. So you need to keep up on their things. But for the cat, if you keep the cat indoors, and I suggest not letting your cat roam around if you have it, and bring it in and leave it in. It's going to be happier inside. You can get all the things you need outside inside. But Emmy's cancer was brought on from an injection site from rabies, like a rabies shot. It was spindle cell carcinoma or sarcoma, whatever the two. That because she kept getting the injection for shot, it developed cancer. And I haven't given my cats any rabies vaccinations for years because they don't go outside. They don't. There's never a reason why they would ever be exposed to an outdoor cat in that way. So I do that. But keep up on those things. Don't let your cat, just because you feel like it's just a cat. What do I care? This you're accepting another life into your home and treat it as such. And don't not bring another life into your home because you are afraid of the end game. Cancer sucks. It really sucks. I had to deal with it so many times in my life. My daughter, who's only 10, has had to deal for the last 8 years. She's had to deal with cancer. And it really fucking sucks. I'm going to say that because it fucking sucks. There are far too many people and animals in this world that do nothing wrong, that have no ill will towards anything, and they end up with the worst possible hand dealt to them. And it's shitty. And you got to deal with it. And especially with an animal, you can't let them sit there. And when it comes time to do that thing that you have to do at the end of their life, do it. Don't let them suffer. And I know it's small or large words from a man who's sitting here and watching his cat, probably not doing that great, but trying to rectify the situation by fixing certain things and hope that they make things easier for others. And I don't know. I'm spinning out of my, in my head, and I can't think right now. So that's all I have for you. And I hope that you take these words, and I hope that you understand, and I hope that you don't flame me for having a soul and caring about cats, or shaming them for whatever else. But that's how I feel, and that's all we got. So I want to thank you for watching. Happy New Year. Good night.